So let's talk a little bit about blue ocean SEO. So there's a concept which came, I forget who the professors are. I think they're Harvard or Princeton professors. They came up with this concept they wrote a book called Blue Ocean Strategies, which is really thinking about the way of competition in two ways. A red ocean is a place where everyone is doing the exact same thing and it's super competitive. So say you're a taxi driver or a car service driver in New York City, and everyone is all the other car service drivers, they have the exact same cars, they have the similar pricing. So the way you're going to compete is simply by out hustling them, getting your name out more, lowering your prices, driving faster, having a better car, something like that. We're on very minor details. A blue ocean is when you tip over the entire market and create a market for yourself. So within that example, within the car service market in New York, Uber came out and said, forget all these car service drivers, forget the fact that you need to call them and wait for them to show up. Here's an app. Here's a faster way of doing it. Here's transparent pricing. Here's all of this. That's a blue ocean. So approach SEO from the same way. So if you're competing against Canva, you might say, well, these are the gaps Canva's missing. Canva's got wedding invitations, but do they have divorce invitations? Canva has designs for graduation, but do they have designs for getting kicked out of school? Things like that, right? So like that's where you're going to red ocean and you're trying to find little gaps. What if you really took that step back and you interviewed Canva customers and you said, you use Canva, why? Because Canva is available to do this, but what would you rather do? Maybe you'd love to do it on your phone. And I know Canva does mobile, right? But like if there's an area where Canva doesn't approach that at all, that's your blue ocean. Doing this from an SEO standpoint, we talked about Nancy Pelosi. So we're very, very focused on Nancy Pelosi, and that's your keyword. What if now you went to Nancy Pelosi net worth and you opened up an entire blue ocean instead of competing on the names of government leaders itself? You built a website and built your content strategy about how much money they're worth, right? So like that's your blue ocean. Instead of again trying to outrank everyone else on Nancy Pelosi, that's your blue ocean is building the best product for net worth.
Which is great. When I hear, I totally get that. I did that actually for a customer who was selling kitchen cabinets. He was going straight against IKEA, Home Depot, and for a small, pure player, it was ridiculous to compete against those guys. So I told them, listen, I just checked the market and, the market share between real estate. Everybody was jumping on B2C real estate and they were totally forgetting about the B2B real estate. For example, I don't know, in churches, in warehouse, they need kitchen cabinet for schools or for other, solution like that. So that could have been a very good opportunity to specialize and to niche down on some specific part of the market. But first of all, is it really an SEO marketer's job to come up with those ideas? And second of all, how do you convince an entrepreneur who is absolutely convinced that his competitor is Home Depot, IKEA, to go in so low and small niche market? To me, it's undoable. I understand the concept, but for having experienced it, it's extremely difficult to convince them to do this.
A heavy, heavy dose of reality. There was a company I was talking to earlier in my consulting career, and as I was writing the book, and they had built a product around insurance, car insurance. Car insurance is a hyper-competitive space.
I know, like it's banking or real estate. It's like,
yeah. All of these are hyper-competitive. So what I explained to this person, he said, well, how do I rank higher on car insurance? I said, do you realize if you Google the word car insurance, Geico's number one, Progressive's number two, whatever, one of those, State Farm, all of those websites, if you look at who is on those websites, they were registered before Google.com was registered. They're older than Google. So your strategy to unseat Geico and Progressive and State Farm, it doesn't exist. It's impossible. You would hope that State Farm makes a massive mistake and tries to rebrand and forgets to renew statefarm.com and doesn't do a redirect. It's not going to happen. So if you're doing something in the insurance space and you believe there's an SEO opportunity, you need to find that blue ocean. So that's what I would do. I would just be very direct and say it is impossible. You cannot rank on the word car insurance. Look at who you're going up against. I know sometimes people fall into like the SEO tools and they say, well, domain authority this and domain content gap, and I can really sneak in here by having better links. It's not going to happen on things like car insurance. It's not going to happen when you're competing against really strong competitors. Now, if someone is competing against Home Depot and they aspire to be the next Home Depot, They can compete against Home Depot, just not today. So if you're working with a client who wants to build a national hardware chain and they're doing things that national hardware chains do, building a brand, having trucks that people see on the road, having ads on TV, having billboards, having, you know, evangelists and all that, eventually they will rank next to Home Depot. But if they're only approaching from an SEO standpoint, is I want to build a brand, it's only going to be online. We're going to drop ship Home Depot's products themselves and we expect to outrank them. It's not going to happen. So that's the heavy dose of reality.